So we're back. eResearch. I mean, the eResearch Center, I mean, got started pretty much at the time when that Anelda mentioned in 2014, and I currently serve as its director. I'm a researcher by background, and I've been with UCT for the last 3 years. So there are some definitions about eResearch. I mean, I find it confusing, and I wish we could do away with it. I mean, I find something that is more directly relatable. But for now, I mean, we are. Thanks. So for now, that's what we are. And there are a few definitions, I mean, from the web, I mean, courtesy of an early version of ChatGPT a couple of years ago. And there are a few incarnations of it, I mean, in South Africa, I mean, all somewhat different, I mean, also due to the nature of the different institutions that host it. But by and large, it's about the use of advanced information technology, which is basically, I mean, the kind of things that is not usually provided by central IT and that is not usually, I mean, taught in high school to further research. The reasoning, I mean, is not, well, I'm preaching to the choir here, but I mean, the reasoning behind the development of eResearch and the moniker is mostly popular in Australia, which is why we drew it in the first place. So the reasoning behind it is that, I mean, the research world, well, is changing, I mean, pretty much like the world around us, and particularly the digital world around us. So researchers must rely much more on cutting-edge hardware and software to do research. And that was true, I mean, 10 years ago. It's perhaps even truer now, I mean, with the advance of, well, digital devices and particularly the advances of AI. But, well, eResearch is, well, has long been, I mean, much more than AI. And, I mean, there is now obviously some confusion, I mean, in what AI will bring. But I think a lot of the underlying reasoning is still solid. And the general idea is that we try and tackle the avalanche of new data coming our way, develop ways to store them, to manage them, to process them, and to analyze them, which is what brings us here today. Universities, I mean, have long established, I mean, research data management teams, and, well, with good reason, and they've long been advocates of open science and open access. But the subtly different nature of research software has often meant that it was perhaps not as clearly highlighted, I mean, in our priorities in, well, institutional forums and that sort. And of course, I mean, another important aspect of eResearch that is now being subsumed, perhaps by many different tools, is the one of collaboration. I mean, how do you develop collaborations? How do you make sure, I mean, that you've got wikis or Slack channels, I mean, that are fit for purpose? Next. And so this is perhaps, I don't know, that's perhaps a Gartner view, but anyway, there are many V's in big data. I mean, some start with 3, I mean, some go as much, some go to as many as 6. I mean, but the general idea is that no matter how big or how small your data is worth nothing unless you use it well, and unless you can show how you used it, and you can demonstrate that your analysis is solid. And that's where software comes in. So for the next slide, yeah, we have a picture, I mean, from my former post. I mean, that's an example of what the radio astronomy data rates, I mean, looks like as a function of time. And as you can see, I mean, from 2015 or thereabout, I mean, there is sort of an exponential rate, and this is in terabytes, I believe. So you can clearly see that we're getting close to the so-called exascale computing era very rapidly. And these are largely data that are generated in Africa by the Meerkat radio telescope and eventually by the SKA. But there are, of course, similar challenges in bioinformatics and Earth observations that South Africa is also closely involved with. Next. So our ecosystem is centered with the Office of the DVC for Research and Internationalization, to which I report. But we are based within the research office, I mean, for physical purposes, but we liaise very closely with UCT libraries, our ICT department, and the research office in order to create a virtual hub to provide services. So a lot of the hardware services, I mean, are provided by ICTS, and we provide, research computing, through our local HPC facility, enterprise research data storage for secure and high-performance access to data, research data transfer tools. We are also involved with the IDEA/ILIFU cloud facility and its science gateway. We work closely with the IDEA Viz Lab for advanced visualization tools for 3D visualization and VR visualizations, and we support UCT's adoption of the NISIS tools like the CHPC, DIRISA, Sunrain services. We also, this is our bedrock of services. We also organize and provide research data management and research software engineering, consulting and training in strong collaboration with the libraries for research data management and ICTS for research software engineering. We help, organizing coding and AI ML training workshops, and we provide, along with the research office, help to budget funding proposals when it comes to infrastructure and running DMPs for both for proposals and for live research projects. You might have seen this before in one incarnation or the other. Our aim is to create a virtual hub, where researchers can access advanced tools to manage all of the research project life cycle. And we have heard for a long time about the importance of research data management, and that's obviously still there. But that, this focus on data, which is, understandable, detracts, from the surrounding ecosystem of that surrounds data. So if you go to the next slide, we can zoom in research software, for the purpose of this meeting. And of course, there are two sides of the same coin. At least to those in the room, that makes a lot of sense. But I think the implication that neither can fully realize its value, the reproducibility and the impact, just the utility, in the long term, without the other is often lost, in either policy or in, discussion about how research infrastructure can be managed. So also for the sake of brevity, we often subsume research software into research data. In most of the university policies, research data actually includes research software, which doesn't help, the visibility of research software and its developers. But of course, as we know, software has got many peculiarities, and here I've only sketched a couple, that came to me yesterday, but obviously, data is often mentioned as a bottleneck because there's big data to deal with, but software, changes very rapidly, and any change, can either break the integration or the workflows, or can lead, to substantially different results. So the nature of data preservation and software preservation are very different, and that's often lost, when we discuss a data product or a software product. But fundamentally, in our line of work, in research, both are required to enable impact and reproducible science, which is all more important in the era of AI and fake news. Thanks. That's my last slide, I believe. So what are we doing at UCT eResearch? We are doing a bunch of things. I won't get into the details. We advocate, for the usage of modern software development and software release tools. We advocate, for being able to track the impact of software, through PIDs of different kind. We try to showcase software in researcher profiles and in research reports, at the university level. And we organize, through partnerships, through extensive partnerships, workshops that range from software carpentry to sustainable research software engineering. And we also partner, with national players like the CHPC and NITEX, to run some local schools. So if that sounds interesting, I'd invite you, to get in touch. If you are at UCT, obviously you got institutional channels, to do that. We are represented in a bunch of university committees, and but if you're not from UCT, we'd very much like to hear from you. All of this is done in partnership with many partners, locally and internationally, and we'll be happy, to help you network, if you want to develop, initiatives along these lines, or even just participate into one of the initiatives that we're running. So there's that, and yes, so let's celebrate, research software today and those who develop it. Thanks.